My name is Felice Thorpe, and I'm an advisor for the cheese and dairy industry, sales, marketing, go-to-market, business development. So I love what I do, and so stoked to be here, and really excited and happy to be part of DZTE. And DZTE is a philanthropic organization that promotes 2 scholarships a year. One of the deadlines just closed for scholarship, but it is application season is still open for one of the other scholarships. So I'll tell you a little bit about that. The 2 scholarships are the DZRA and the DZTE. DZRA is the one that just closed, and it's a research scholarship. And that's a $2,900 award to research a cheese topic of your choice. And the DZTE is still, the application season is open. The deadline is May 31st. And the scholarship amount for that is $6,800. And that is a research and teaching award. So the expectation for that one is travel and also a presentation expectation for that typically happens at ACS. So Daphne Zepos founded Essex Cheese, and she also was a co-founder of the Cheese School of San Francisco. She was an advocate for raw milk cheese and artisan cheese making in general, especially American and European cheeses. Those were kind of her passions. So currently the DZTE has some focus on those locations, but also awareness and open to the future of, cheese as a global food and global topic. And we love that as well. But Daphne was very focused on European cheeses like Essex is as well. And she was also the 2012 recipient of the ACS Lifetime Achievement Award. So unfortunately, she has passed, and that these scholarships in this nonprofit philanthropic organization that we're part of is in her honor. And Josh and I are on the board, and we are responsible for some different marketing and fundraising and communications and community engagement and scholarship help. So we're here. We are, please stay in touch with us. Reach out if you have any questions. We can guide you in the right direction. You can find the website at dzte.org. And there's also an email that's a general email that's admin@dzte.org. So you can ask any questions there. And Josh is going to be your master of ceremonies for this evening. So I'd like to ask him, Josh, how did you get into cheese, and what got you to this place where you are at today?
I am Josh Windsor. I am an entrepreneur at Murray's Cheese in New York City. I started in cheese as an intern way back in 2017, switching careers because I love cheese and had an opportunity to work in something that I loved as opposed to my previous 20-year career in systems integration, which was not something I loved. And so, yeah, I've worked my way in various positions, aging cheese like the cheese you have behind me. And as an entrepreneur, I learned very quickly that you have to rely on asking people lots of questions in order to learn your craft, that a lot of cheese knowledge is not readily available in the world. And so through my own research and asking lots of questions of lots of very talented people, I've come to know a bit more about cheese than I did 10 years ago when I was just a cheese enthusiast. So tonight we are going to be doing some cheese trivia as part of this fundraising effort for the Daphne Zepos Teaching Endowment and the scholarships that we give out. So tonight we have 6 rounds of questions, 5 questions each. Each question is worth 10 points. The categories that we'll be covering come from the ACS-CCP body of knowledge, with the exception of the final round, which is just random things that have come up in conversations I've had in the past week about cheese. So prepare yourself for that world. And otherwise, hopefully this is going to be a lot of fun. We've run through several of these questions with several different groups of cheese people, and the general consensus is this is hard but not impossible. We're good. All right. We are going to get this rolling. All right. You'll see that I'm signed in. I promise I won't answer any of these questions and take points away from you. I just had to do that to get this up onto the screen. So our first category of the evening is a sensory evaluation and cheese assessment. In 3, 2, 1. Which of the following would contribute to a sour taste in cheese? Is it A, butyric acid, B, diacetyl, C, lactic acid, or D, methane ethiol? The correct answer is C, lactic acid. If you would like to learn more about flavor in cheese, I highly recommend checking out Matt Benham's 2022 DZTE presentation, where he tackled two big questions. How can feed and farming practices produce milk that yields the highest expression of a particular land? And how can farmers and cheesemakers best assess the return on investment involved in producing that milk? Looks like we have a lot of ties in first place for right now. All right, question number 2 is a visual question. So there is going to be a picture that you must look at. In 3, 2, 1. The defect seen here is known as A, peau de crapaud, B, sweet holes, C, posittraction, or D, LBD. All right, and the correct answer on that is LBD, otherwise known as late blowing defect. Unfortunately, not peau de crapaud, the toad skin, sweet holes, another wonderfully named cheese defect, or posittraction, which is not a feature of cheese at all, but all of the Camaros that I grew up working on. Starting to separate out. Next question is a complete this sentence multiple choice. Coming up in 3, 2, 1. A friable cheese is one that melts easily, A, stretches easily, B, C, portions easily, or D, crumbles easily. A friable cheese. And the correct answer is D. A friable cheese is one that crumbles easily. A very misleading word that sounds like it should melt easily, but friable refers to the fracturability of a cheese. We still have a lot of people in the lead. Question number 4. Fill in the blank, multiple choice. Eyes peeled to a screen. A cheese with blank will always have an open-bodied texture. A cheese with A, slip skin, B, mechanical openings, C, Lactobacillus helveticus, or D, blue mold. And the correct answer is B, mechanical openings. So slip skin is a defect that where the rind separates from the cheese. B, the mechanical openings are pockets of whey that keep curds from being fully pressed, which leads to an open body texture. Lactobacillus helveticus is a microbe that is often used to sweeten cheeses. It was isolated from Alpine style cheeses, and blue mold, of course, is just Penicillium roqueforti that it contributes to blue mold. If you are interested in starter cultures, and particularly Lactobacillus helveticus, which was isolated from native raw milk cheeses in the Alpine category, Tom Perry's 2015 talk on researching cultures and their use and advocating for native cultures in the USA is a great DZTE lecture to check out. We have a strong lead pulling forward here, the end of round 1. Our last question is a complete this sentence, multiple choice for answers. In 3, 2, 1. A lenticular or spindled shape collapsed eye formed on the interior of Emmental cheese is technically referred to as A, frog mouth, B, gassy, C, stroible, or D, volatile. The correct answer is frog mouth. Leave it to the ACS sensory lexicon to use the term lenticular, which is one I didn't know until I came across this particular definition for frog mouth. Frog mouth is a collapsed eye that looks like a frog mouth. I don't know why there are so many defects in cheese that are named after amphibians. We have two people in the lead, Kat and Alex. Should be no surprise. Alex, who is working on his research currently in sensory evaluation, is holding strong on this. If you want to see his research, come to the American Cheese Society conference in Buffalo, where he'll be presenting. All right, next category, everyone's favorite, and I'm getting it out of the way early, food safety and regulations. Our first question is another complete this sentence. In a HACCP plan, CCP refers to A, a critical control process, B, a certified cheese professional, C, a critical control point, or D, colloidal calcium phosphate. The correct answer is a critical control point. Critical control point. Critical control process is not a thing in HACCP plan. Certified cheese professionals are the play on CCP from the American Cheese Society. Critical control point is the point at which you monitor in a HACCP plan. And D, a colloidal calcium phosphate, is what holds everything together in cheese. All right, we're back up. Kat pulled ahead with a food safety question. All right, our next question, another complete this sentence. Quaternary ammonia, otherwise known as quat, is a non-toxic odorless sanitizer that is most effective on food contact surfaces when A, applied with a pressure sprayer, B, diluted in warm water at 200 parts per million, C, washed away after 5 seconds of contact, or D, all of the above. The correct answer is B, diluted in warm water at 200 parts per million. That is just the standard recommended practice for quaternary ammonia for food contact surfaces. For those of you who have ever studied for the CCP exam or are currently for it, that is just a classic memorization question for the exam. And we're at Kat in the lead and a 3 or 4-way tie for second place. 4-way tie for second place. Question number 3 is just a multiple choice answer question. Coming up in 3, 2, 1. What is the pasteurization method which holds milk at 145 degrees Fahrenheit for 30 minutes? Is it A, vat pasteurization, B, ultra pasteurization, C, high heat short time pasteurization, or D, thermization? The correct answer is A, vat pasteurization. Vat pasteurization or batch pasteurization requires a bulk of milk to be heated at a uniform 145 degrees for 30 minutes. We are neck and neck coming into the end of the food safety questions. Second to last, fourth question of food safety. Which of the following is considered a spoilage microbe, but not typically a food safety concern in cheese? Is it A, Salmonella enterotitis, B, Pseudomonas fluorescens, C, Listeria monocytogenes, or D, Penicillium camemberti? The correct answer is B, Pseudomonas fluorescens. So it shows up as a fluorescing yellow spoilage microbe in cheese, but generally food safe under most conditions. The rest of those, well, A and C, don't want to have in food. D, we eat all the time, Penicillium camemberti, the white molded soft ripened cheeses. Alex and Kat are back neck and neck, coming into the last food safety question. Multiple choice. Moving into regulations. A medium-aged USDA grade A cheddar may not exhibit any flavors and aromas in which category? How well do you know your USDA terms? Is it A, metallic, B, feed, C, acid, D, bitter? 3 of those are acceptable in USDA grade cheddars in small amounts. The correct answer is metallic. So a USDA grade cheddar can have feed, acid, and bitterness. So coming into the lead, we have Kat, followed closely by a 3-way tie in second place. And if you're interested in cheddars, one of the DZTE recipients that worth checking out is Vince Razionale's 2017 vision, where he went and studied the flavor of bandaged cheddars, which actually do fall under USDA grading, and spent time studying those at the Holden Farm in Wales. Our next and third category, Protected Designation of Origin, PDO. First question. Which is not an Italian PDO cheese? A, Latour, B, Montasio, C, Taleggio, D, Pecorino Romano. Correct answer is Latour. Latour is a brand name cheese made by a single producer. The rest are all covered under Italian PDO. All right. Our next question coming up. Again, multiple choice. It's a long one. According to French law, cheese with this name can only be aged in the natural caves of Combloux. Is it A, Marois, B, Chabichou, C, Roquefort, D, Livarot? The correct answer is Roquefort. So made in the natural caves of Combloux. And we have had several DZTE recipients study caves and affinage systems. Our first was Emily Chartin in 2014, who studied cheese aging across different countries and different styles of cheese making in Europe. She used her grant money to travel to England, France, and Holland early on, when affinage was something that was only thought of by a few producers here in the US. Question number 3, again, multiple choice. Coming up, which raw milk Swiss AOP cheese can only be made between May 10th and October 10th in a Cooper, because I can't spell, copper vat? Is it A, La Gruyere, B, Lativa, C, Sprints, or D, Glarner Alpkäse? The correct answer is B, Lativa. Lativa pulled away from the La Gruyere consortium and created a more strict version. And La Gruyere can be made throughout the year, but Lativa can only be made between May 10th and October 10th. Does require raw milk and does require a copper vat, as well as a number of other strict standards. Question number 4. Which soft French PDO cow milk cheese can only be made from raw milk and was once described by the surrealist poet Leon Paul Fargue as smelling like the feet of God? Is it A, Chabichou de Poitou, B, Camembert de Normandie, C, Banon, D, Saint-Marcelin? And the correct answer is Camembert de Normandie. One of my favorite references to a cheese ever is Leon Paul Fargue's. He actually literally called it the feet of a benevolent God, which I think is one of my all-time favorite descriptions of a cheese that I've ever come across. Camembert de Normandie smells like the feet of a benevolent God. All right, slight shift in standings. Our last question in PDO cheeses. Which PDO cheese cannot be made with milk from the Simmental breed of cow? Is it A, Belpernol, B, Languiole, C, Queso Casan, or D, Parmigiano Reggiano? The correct answer is Queso Casan. So the other three can be made from Simmental, either not specifying a specific breed or actually specifying the Simmental cow. Queso Casan is, if you are unfamiliar with it, a Spanish cheese that is made in the Asturias region of Spain, and it is similar to Queso Blanco. It gets crushed down. It's actually rolled out in these thin coin-like structures, and it specifies a local breed. And one of our earliest DZTE recipients wanted to look at heritage breeds, Sam Frank in 2016. His vision was to learn and teach about heritage breeds of dairy animals. He used his grant to travel to dairy farms in Europe and the United States. And in Europe, he visited producers making cheeses with the milk of heritage breeds in Italy, Spain, Switzerland, Ireland, and the UK. That was my first DZTE lecture that I ever got to sit in on. It's fascinating. So just a little bit of shift up in the lead, getting neck in neck. We're going to move on to our next category, which I think might be a little more familiar to a broader group of people on here, selling and service. First question is a complete this sentence. The true date when a manufacturer believes a product will begin to spoil is recording on packaging as A, lot code, B, sell by date, C, expiration date, D, best by date. And the correct answer is C, expiration date. Expiration dates refer to when something should spoil as opposed to when their quality starts to lag. All right, another visual clue question coming up. So eyes to the screen. The knife seen here is sometimes called a Dutch cheese knife, but it is also known as A, mezzaluna, B, cheese harp, C, skeleton knife, D, radial knife. The correct answer is a mezzaluna. You know, it's a curved-shaped knife. Often the handles are either in the form that we see here or off at a 90-degree angle from the blade. Question number 3, multiple choice. 3, if someone was making aligote but could not find tome fresh, which of the following cheeses would be the best substitute? Is it A, halloumi, B, queso blanco, C, Ustalepa, or D, Solares? A little bit of a subjective question. The correct answer is Solares. Aligote is a combination of tome fresh, which is a semi-soft cheese, and mashed potatoes that is whipped together and stretched out and requires a melting cheese. Halloumi, queso blanco, and Ustalepa are made specifically not to melt, so Solares is the only option there. And it's a French cheese, which makes it a moderately good substitute if you are looking for tradition. All right. We have another visual clue coming up in sales and service. Sometimes called a wedge or pie cut, the portioning suggestion seen here is often recommended for which cheese? Is it A, Orizano, B, Piper's Pyramid, C, Pont l'Evêque, or D, Queso Titilla? The correct answer is Murezano, which is a white rinded soft cheese from Italy. Piper's Pyramid is shaped like a pyramid. Pont l'Evêque is in a square, and Queso de Titilla is in a teardrop shape. 5th and final question for sales and service. Which selection of cheese best represents a vertical tasting by milk type? Queso Idiazabal, Pecorino Siciliano, Osso Arati or Obannon, Queso Majorero, Castelmagno, Maconese, and Mount Tam. C. Queso de Murcia, Formaggio de Fassa de Soviana, Picadone or Cupol. Or D. Gorocha, Robiola de Rocaverano, Peladon, or Wabash Cannonball. Number or letter D are goat's milk cheeses, Gorocha. They're all in the order of Spanish, Italian, French, and then American cheeses. The rest of them are various forms of milk, either sheep or cow and goat. No buffalo milk represented on these lists. But Gorocha, Robiola de Rocaverano, and Peladon, and Wabash Cannonball are always goat. Kat and Amelia are holding first and second place strong. Where are we on? We're in category number 5, I think, at this point. Cheese making and affinage. Our first question, multiple choice. Which of the following is least likely to be influenced by the salting step of cheese making? Is it A, moisture content, B, microbial growth, C, flavor development, or D, acid profile? The correct answer here is acid profile. So we've got moisture content, microbial growth, and flavor development are all three things that are primarily influenced by this, or are majorly influenced by the salting step in cheese making. Acid profile. I'm not even sure what acid profile means. Next question, multiple choice. Pasta filata refers to what technique in cheese making? Is it A, heating and stretching the curd, B, heating and pressing the curd, C, cooling and pressing the curd, or D, cutting the curd into grain-sized pieces? I don't know why, but that term has always just made me hungry hearing it. The correct answer is heating and stretching. It is the spun paste technique that mozzarella, Armenian string cheese, and many, many other cheeses in the world undergo. So curds are heated and then stretched. All right, question number 3 in cheese making and affinage. Question number 3. An acid set or lactic set curd will most likely result in A, firm texture cheese with few eyes, B, elastic and springy textured cheese, C, high moisture, soft textured cheese, or D, salty and bitter cheese? The correct answer is high moisture, soft textured cheese. Using acid for coagulation retains more moisture in the cheese, but a looser curd structure, typically used for fresh or short ripened cheeses. If you were interested more in the rennet or enzymatic coagulated cheeses, we highly recommend that you check out Trevor Warmdahl's 2022 presentation. Trevor applied his scholarship to study the wide variety of coagulants and rennets used in Italy, Spain, and Eastern Europe, where he visited many dairies, small and large, to learn about the ways coagulants are used and selected for different types of cheese. It was a fascinating talk, and ones many people are still referencing. All right, going to our leaderboard. Kat in the lead at 200 points. Amelia at 190. Allie at 180. Katie at 170. They have an even spread. Question number 4 in cheese making and affinage. Multiple choice. Which cheese is most likely to contain the seed of the achiote plant as an ingredient? Is it Vermont Creamery's fresh herb goat cheese, Point Reyes Farmstead's Original Blue, Netto Metals Farms Kunig, or Widmer Cheese Cellars Mild Cheddar? The correct answer is Widmer Cheese Cellars Mild Cheddar. The achiote plant gives us annatto seed, and annatto is used to color certain cheeses. And Widmer Cheese Cellars Mild Cheddar does have a bit of annatto in it. Kat holding strong onto her lead as we come into the final question of cheese making and affinage. Multiple choice. This one definitely leans on the affinage side of cheese making. Which mold-like yeast is responsible for the formation of the wrinkled rind on Valensae? Is it A. Geotrichum clavatum, B. Geotrichum dingrogu, C. Geotrichum candidum, D. Geotrichum cinnamomum? The correct answer is Geotrichum candidum, which has had about 30 names since its discovery 100 years ago. Both A. Geotrichum clavatum and D. Geotrichum cinnamomum are real microbes, but they don't show up in cheese very often. And Geotrichum dingrogu is one that I'm looking forward to, but so far no one has found the baby Yoda mold. We are going into the final round, truly trivial. Although some of these topics are not necessarily trivial to all people, these are based on random things that I have talked about in cheese with various people over the past week. Most of them were new items to me. Not all of them, but some of them. So question number 1. What was the first European cheese to receive an Appellation d'Origine Contrôlée AOC designation in 1925? Is it A. Roquefort, B. Neufchâtel, C. Rigotte de Condrieu, or D. Cantal? The correct answer is Roquefort. Interestingly enough, I have a couple of French history books that put that date at 1921, but they're unreferenced. I don't know exactly what they're referring to. But 1925 is the generally recognized date for Roquefort, the first AOC cheese in history. All right, we got a couple of questions to knock Kat out of her lead. Second question, multiple choice. Which crystal has yet to be found in cheese? A. Brushite, B. Struvite, C. Azurite, D. Calcium lactate. The correct answer is Azurite. Brushite is found in the blue openings on blue cheese and in the rind of soft white ripened cheeses. Struvite is found on wash rind cheeses, and calcium lactate typically found on cheddars. There are about 30 different cheese crystals found on cheeses, and most of them are almost impossible to pronounce. Third question. Marie Harel is credited with inventing which classic French cheese? Is it Livarot, B. Camembert, C. Brie, or D. Bijou? Marie Harel. Marie Harel was on a small farmstead in Camembert and is often credited as inventing Camembert at the instructions of a renegade French priest fleeing Paris. And if you're interested about the role of women in cheese, Mary Casella's 2021 DZRA research project was centered around the role of women in cheese and dairy. And since entering the cheese world, she has been entirely inspired by women in the industry, and she touches upon the Marie Harel story in her lecture. It is a fascinating story that is often contested, but also very well studied in a book called Camembert, the National Myth. We're going to have a very difficult question coming up next, because this was new information to me and to many people who I was talking to when this item came up this week. It is a visual question, so eyes on the screen. This tool, designed by Giuseppe Notari in the 19th century to cut the curd of Grana-style cheese, is often called a blank, meaning thorn, which refers to the ancient tradition of using a hawthorn branch to accomplish the same task. Is it A. Aculeo, B. Spino, C. Filial, or D. Bronca? The correct answer is Spino, which directly translates as spine, referring to the hawthorn branch, which is once thought to be the original curd cutter for Parmigiano Reggiano. The other three are just synonyms for spine in Italian. And I've never seen those applied to curd cutting devices. Now is the chance for a two-way tie for first. Last question of the evening. Which American original cheese was last produced by the Kraft Cheese Company in 1931? Is it A, Teleme, B, Brick, C, pineapple cheese, or D, Pinkonig? The correct answer is pineapple cheese, a cheese that was shaped like a pineapple and made in the United States for about 100 years. Teleme is still in existence. Franklin's Teleme is the only production of it right now. Brick, made by many producers, and Pinkonig is a version of Colby that comes from Pinkonig, Michigan. So all three are in existence. Pineapple cheese has disappeared from the face of the planet starting in 1931. So, drum roll, our final winner is Kat. Congratulations, Kat. You are the recipient of a wheel of Sunday sauce. Grand runner-up is Allie, who will be receiving 2 tickets to the DZTE New York State Cheese Council party at ACS. Well done to everyone. As I said, this was a hard to not quite impossible round of questions. Hopefully you learned a little bit of something. Thank you everyone for joining this for the inaugural DZTE trivia fundraiser. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do want to see it come back, please let us know. And also if you have any feedback for us on how we can improve it, we would love to hear from that as well. Thanks everyone.